The camera market has been in free fall since 2011. I'm including DSLRs, mirrorless, whether the lens is detachable or not. And the lens being detachable, we call those ILCs. I want to take a look at the CIPA numbers. Here we can see a graph showing 2019 with what you would consider to be a normal market curve. We can see in the first half we started to get announcements right around February leading up to the middle of the year, and so we had increased sales when those cameras came online. And then things kind of settled off for the summer, and then for the fall season we got new camera announcements and sales took off again before tapering off around Christmas time in December. But then 2020 and 2021 were very different years. Things were much tougher. We had supply constraints. 2020, of course, is represented in black because, well, it goes the full year. And January and February were relatively normal, but you can still see they were down from 2019. But March, April, May, June, and even July are down significantly over 2019 because we really didn't have any announcements. There were supply shortages. There were so many disruptions that the camera market was in shock. But then we got some really amazing announcements. And so take a look again at August, September, and October. The market exploded and we came very close to touching those numbers from 2019. And it's my belief that if we didn't have the supply shortages, the second half of 2020 would have at least matched or exceeded 2019 in terms of units shipped. And again, these numbers here are for units shipped, not for total sales. However, looking at 2021, a lot of us had hopes that things would get better, but all the reasons for the supply shortages are still there, and instead of getting better, things got worse. Not only that, we didn't get many announcements. We got the Alpha 1 at the beginning of the year, and as you can see, we got a slight bump a month later with increased sales. But nobody else really came out with anything, so right away, right down to July, August, the market kept dropping units. It kept, 1 month was worse than the previous month, and definitely way down over 2020 and 2019. And it wasn't until August or July that things started to pick up a little bit. However, we didn't get any new announcements. I know what you're thinking. Yes, we did. We got the A7 IV, we got the Z9, but these didn't really start shipping until December. So yes, numbers did kick up a little bit because summer was over. People are buying cameras for various reasons. The second half usually does pick up, and it's usually in October, November, or September, October, November is where they pick up. So here we are at this point in the year, and we're looking at a total number of sales for the year of about 4.5 million. Now that's trending lower than 2020 at this point. For this year to match 2020, December would have to push out 515,000 units. That's a staggering 515,000 units just to be able to match 2021. So at this point, my belief is I really don't see that. I don't see that 2021 is going to be better than 2020. I think it's going to be worse. Now, initial projections from many others were saying, hey, around 6 to 7 million units. And Nikon Rumors is even saying, I think we might hit 5.3, 5.4 million units. I don't see it happening. I see we might hit 5 million units at best, but I can't really see us hitting 5.3 or 5.4. And either way, the market is down. But the biggest problem with sales and units shipped this year was just being able to get products out the door. And a lot of cameras that were due to be shipped this year, or to be announced and shipped, were pulled off the market because the supply shortages, and Canon was one of those. Canon has so many holes in their lineup for mirrorless cameras that there's so many cameras they're planning on releasing, like APS-C cameras for the R system, and of course the RP replacement. And a camera that sits between the RP and the R6. No, not the EOS R Mark II. That camera isn't going to happen. That was a one-off camera. But yes, something that's going to be mid-priced and mid-spec between the R6 and the RP. So I think that when we get an announcement in a couple of weeks with the CIPA numbers showing full 2020 units shipped, I think it's going to be another down year. Now, I think potentially for 2022, if Canon does release replacements for the RP, Sony comes out with the A5, we have a camera that sits between the RP and the R6, which I think is going to be a camera for everybody. It's going to be affordable, have a ton of features, Well, I think that we're going to get a lot of sales generated from Canon, and that's assuming that Canon can get enough of these cameras out the door. And for Sony, we've got a great lineup. So many cameras, and with the refresh of the A7R4 and the A7R5, giving it, let's say, 100 megapixels. I already put a video out earlier today on this. Take a look at that. I think it certainly makes sense that we could have a good camera there. Now, as far as the A9 Mark III, as I put out in my previous video, this one here, I'm having troubles trying to understand where this camera fits in when we look at the competition and the Alpha 9. If they do a refresh that matches the competition, well, then it kind of eats the A1's lunch, and the A1 isn't ready for a release at this point. We're in a point right now in the camera market where there's just a huge amount of innovation and increased and enhanced capabilities coming to cameras throughout the entire product line and price point. So I think this year has the potential to be a really, really good year. And if somehow we can return to normal, that would help. But as far as supply shortages, chip shortages, I don't see this changing until 2023 and 2024, because these chip fabs, even when they do come online in 2023, they've still got to do their testing. They've got to take that queue, that back order, and fill it. And I don't think things are really going to return to normal until 2024 at the late end, and maybe even into 2025. So we have to get used to this for now. Canon, Panasonic, Sony, Nikon, Olympus, they're all having to make tough decisions to stay alive. One of the good news for us as consumers is they're certainly putting out cameras to capture our attention, to get us excited. And that's a good thing. So while there are supply shortages, we're getting really incredible cameras, although the prices for these cameras is definitely going up, we're certainly getting incredible capabilities. One last thing though, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow, but I take it as a virtual pat on the back. And also, I'll be honest with you, just watching the video to this point really helps, or telling other friends and family members about my channel. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.